Holly and Alex were happily celebrating their first Christmas as a married couple. The small house was warm and cozy as they decorated the Christmas tree, laughed, and shared stories. Snow fell softly outside, and everything felt perfect. That night, they sat by the fire, drinking hot cocoa and enjoying each other's company. But when the clock struck midnight, the mood changed. The house suddenly became freezing cold, colder than any winter night. The heater was on, but it didn't help. Holly wrapped herself in a blanket, shivering, while Alex frowned, trying to figure out what was wrong. Then, the decorations on the tree began to fall off one by one. Ornaments smashed on the floor, and the tree lights started flickering. "Maybe it's just the wind," Alex said, but his voice didn't sound confident. Holly felt uneasy. "Something's wrong," she whispered, looking around. They both jumped when they heard a knock at the door. It was soft at first but became louder and more forceful. "Who could that be at this hour?" Alex muttered, though he didn't move to answer. The knocking stopped. The silence was worse. Then, a sudden icy wind blew through the house, making the candles go out. A deep voice called out, "Holly." Holly froze. Her heart raced as she recognized the voice. She turned slowly, and there he was, Jason, her ex-boyfriend. But Jason had died a year ago, under strange circumstances. "Jason," she whispered, her voice trembling. Jason's face was pale, his eyes dark and angry. "You thought I'd stay dead, didn't you?" he said, glaring at Alex. "You killed me so you could have her." Holly's eyes widened. "What is he talking about, Alex?" Alex didn't answer. His silence told her everything. "You betrayed me," Jason said, his voice sharp with pain. He turned to Holly. "And you, Holly, did you ever love me, or was it all a lie?" Holly looked down, tears in her eyes. "I didn't love you," she admitted softly. "I only loved Alex. But I didn't want you to die. I swear." Jason's expression grew colder. "You used me. Both of you did." Holly fell to her knees, crying. "Please, Jason, don't hurt Alex. Take me instead, please." Jason shook his head, laughing bitterly. "You don't get to choose. I'll make sure you suffer the way I did." He raised his hand, and Alex's body suddenly collapsed to the floor. Holly screamed as her husband's lifeless eyes stared back at her. Jason leaned close to her. "Your punishment is to live without him, just as I lived without you." Then he disappeared, leaving Holly sobbing beside Alex's body. The next morning, the police arrived after neighbors heard her screams. No one believed her story about Jason's ghost. The evidence pointed to her, and they arrested her for Alex's murder. Months later, Holly was sent to an asylum. She became quiet and withdrawn, often talking to herself about Jason and Alex. Sometimes, the nurses heard her laughing or arguing with people who weren't there. In her mind, she saw Jason watching her with anger and Alex looking at her with sadness. No one knew if they were real or if Holly was just imagining them. But Holly knew one thing. She was trapped in her guilt and her sorrow, forever haunted by the two men she had loved and lost.
If you like this video, subscribe our channel.